The hum of the Starship Elysium's engines was the only thing breaking the silence. Captain Aaron Kell sat hunched over the sterile medical bay table, still reeling from the bizarre turn of events that had brought him here. Just 24 hours ago, he had been a soldier on a routine mission in the Andromeda sector, expecting nothing more than a reconnaissance flight and a few hours of boredom. Now, he was entangled in an interstellar misunderstanding of galactic proportions, and it all involved her. Her. The alien nurse. Zyra. Aaron had first met Zyra when he was injured during a skirmish on the planet Valax. His left arm had been shredded by plasma fire, and he barely made it to the emergency medical unit before passing out from blood loss. That was when he first saw her, moving with fluid grace among the tree-edge pods, her teal-hued skin glinting under the medbay lights, and her silver eyes. Yes, they were actually silver, locked on him with alarming intensity. "You're stabilized," she said in a voice that seemed to echo inside his skull. "But your injury is severe. You must remain here for observation." She didn't ask, she stated. And Aaron had complied, though a part of him still suspected that even if he tried to escape, the alien nurse could stop him with just a thought. Her presence was unnerving yet comforting. There was something about the way her hands moved over his wound, tentatively gentle but precise, that made Aaron relax despite the situation. Her touch was unlike any human's. It was almost like she was reading his pain and reshaping it, not merely healing him. He had fallen asleep thinking, if aliens are like this everywhere, maybe the galaxy isn't so bad. But that was before the incident. The misunderstanding. Aaron had awakened to find Zyra sitting beside him, holding a small glowing device in her hands. It emitted soft pulses of light, like a heartbeat. She smiled, again, that unsettling, captivating smile, and spoke in halting Galactic Standard, her version of the universal translator, slightly glitchy.
"You awake. Good."
"There is ritual. Important. Must accept." Aaron blinked. "Ritual? What ritual?" Zyra's eyes widened as if he had just insulted her entire species. "Marriage ritual."
"Yes."
"Ritual of bond. You agree?" He coughed, uncertain if he was hallucinating from the painkillers. "Wait, you're saying we're married?" Her expression softened.
"Yes."
"So that means married." He shook his head, laughing weakly. "You can't be serious. I don't even know you. And marriage?" Her lips curled into a faint, almost sad smile. "I take seriously. Galactic law bond is valid if consent is given verbally. You said yes." Aaron froze. He had muttered, half asleep, "Sure, why not?" while trying to swat away a fly, or what he thought was a fly, but was actually a hovering biosensor. Apparently, Zyra had taken that as official consent. Now, as he sat up, bandaged and bewildered, he realized that the alien nurse had already processed the bond through the medbay's interface. His profile on the ship's galactic registry now officially listed him as married to Zyra. And there was no undo button. Life on the Elysium after the bond. The next morning, Aaron woke to find Zyra adjusting the lighting in his quarters with tiny gestures, murmuring something about comfort alignment and emotional synergy. He tried to protest, but every time he opened his mouth, she either placed a hand over it or countered with a tiny, unyielding gadget that emitted a soft buzzing sound. "Effective communication," she explained. "Necessary for married life." Aaron groaned. Being married to an alien nurse he barely knew had not been part of his mission objectives. He had imagined thrilling space battles, covert recon missions, and maybe a little downtime drinking synth beer with the crew. Not attending daily bonding exercises, in which Zyra insisted he meditate while she hovered 3 inches above him, humming in some alien scale that made his teeth vibrate. But the more time he spent with her, the stranger the dynamic became. Zaira was attentive, yes, almost excessively so. She had access to all his medical readings, knew exactly when he was fatigued, and even anticipated his needs before he voiced them. One evening, he reached for a glass of water, and she had already poured it, cooled to his exact preferred temperature. "What did you do?" he asked, genuinely curious. "Prepared. Married partners anticipate each other," she said simply, tucking her silver hair behind her ear, a movement so human yet so alien. Aaron realized then that she wasn't just taking the marriage seriously. She was redefining it on her terms, and somehow it worked. The first test. Their first real challenge came unexpectedly. The Elysium had been rerouted to intercept a pirate ship in the Ku-Kara Belt. Aaron was back in his tactical gear, reviewing schematics in the command center, when Zaira appeared, holding a small vial of bioluminescent liquid. "You must drink," she said. "Protective bonding serum. Required." Aaron blinked. "Protective? Bonding serum? Are we?"
Yes.
"Married partners must survive together. Serum ensures the emotional link strengthens." He hesitated, but the intensity in her silver eyes made him reconsider. They had been together less than 48 hours, and he already felt something. He didn't know what, but he didn't want to dismiss it outright.
So he drank.
The effect was immediate. A warmth spread through his chest, and suddenly, he could sense her emotions, faint, shimmering threads of thought and feeling. When the pirate ship fired upon the Elysium, he felt a pang of fear mirrored in her mind. When he issued countermeasures, he felt a thrill of determination radiate from her. It was unnerving, intimate, and intoxicating. By the time the skirmish ended and the pirate vessel fled, Aaron realized he had fought more effectively because he wasn't alone. He and Zaira moved in perfect synchronicity, almost instinctively anticipating each other's actions. Confessions in zero gravity. Later, Aaron found himself floating in the ship's observation deck, staring at the swirling colors of a nearby nebula. Zaira appeared beside him, silent. "Why you not resist?" she asked softly. "Marriage sudden. Human usually resist." Aaron shrugged, though he couldn't meet her silver eyes directly. "I don't know. It felt weirdly right. And you make it feel less weird." She tilted her head, the corners of her lips lifting slightly. "Weird is temporary. Bond eternal if nurtured." Aaron laughed, floating upside down for lack of gravity. "Eternal, huh? That's a long commitment for someone I met yesterday." She floated closer, brushing against him lightly. Time irrelevant. Feelings immediate. And in that moment, Aaron realized the depth of the strange, sudden connection they shared. He had entered the marriage as a joke, a misunderstanding, but now, he couldn't imagine being anywhere else. The diplomatic complications. Not everyone was thrilled about the development. The Elysium's command structure was in an uproar when the Galactic Registry confirmed Aaron and Zaira's bond. Admiral Cross himself demanded a private briefing. "You've married an alien nurse?" Voluntarily. Cross barked, eyes narrowed. "It was complicated," Aaron said, rubbing his temple. "There was a misunderstanding, but—" And now, Cross interrupted, "The entire Andromeda fleet considers this a political union. The Xerians will expect formal recognition." Aaron groaned. He had survived combat, zero-gravity drills, and plasma burns, but now he had to navigate alien diplomacy. Zaira, of course, was unfazed. She hovered by his side, calmly preparing a data pad for signatures. "Recognition formalizes bond." "Necessary," she explained. Aaron muttered something under his breath that sounded suspiciously like, "Why me?" Learning to coexist. The next week was a whirlwind. Aaron and Zyra had to attend diplomatic meetings, ceremonial dinners, and more bonding exercises than he could count. But something miraculous happened. Aaron began to understand her species' culture, and Zyra, surprisingly, adapted to human quirks. They laughed together, at first awkwardly, then freely, finding joy in shared jokes about zero-gravity mishaps, alien cuisine, and the absurdity of a human-alien marriage. He discovered that Zyra loved music, though her instruments produced tones no human ear could fully comprehend. She discovered that Aaron was hopeless at cooking but terrifyingly competent at piloting starships through asteroid fields. And in quiet moments, when the Elysium drifted through uncharted space, they talked about home planets, lost families, and dreams they had never dared to voice before. Aaron realized that love, or whatever this bond was not something that followed a script. It grew in the most unlikely of circumstances, through shared danger, trust, and a strange, almost magical understanding of each other's being. Crisis and commitment. Their final test came when the Elysium encountered the Gravex Rift, a space anomaly that distorted time and energy. Crew members panicked, systems failed, and Aaron and Zyra found themselves trapped in the medbay, the storm of plasma and gravitational waves battering the ship. "Stay together," Zyra said, gripping his hand. Aaron nodded. "Always." The rift threatened to tear the ship apart, and for a moment, they thought they would be lost. But their bond, strengthened by the serum, their shared experiences, and something deeper, allowed them to synchronize. Zyra used alien medtech to stabilize the ship's core, while Aaron piloted them out of the rift. When the chaos subsided, they were battered, bruised, but alive. And in that exhausted silence, Aaron looked at Zyra and said, "I guess we really are married now, huh?" She smiled, softly brushing a lock of hair from his forehead.
"Yes."
"And I take seriously." Aaron laughed, leaning back against the console. "So, do I now?" Epilogue. A strange, wonderful life. Months passed. Aaron and Zyra became legends aboard the Elysium, the first human-Zyran couple to navigate both marriage and interstellar adventure simultaneously. They learned each other's languages, quirks, and habits. They laughed, fought, healed, and loved in ways neither had imagined possible. Aaron no longer thought of the marriage as a mistake or a misunderstanding. It was a choice made in a blur of confusion and pain, solidified through shared danger, empathy, and the unspoken understanding that, sometimes, love finds you in the most unexpected forms. And Zyra? She continued to take the marriage very seriously. Perhaps a little too seriously at times, but Aaron had learned that this was part of her charm. Between zero-gravity exercises, medbay checkups, and quiet evenings under nebula-lit skies, he had found a partner, a friend, and something closer to home than he had ever known among the stars. "So," he said one evening as they floated together in the observation deck, "does this mean we're stuck together forever?" Her silver eyes glinted. "Forever, yes. But willingly, Aaron. Always willingly." And he realized that, in the chaos of space, in the madness of a misinterpreted ritual, he had found something real. Something worth fighting for, worth cherishing, something worth being married to. The stars outside shimmered, indifferent, eternal, and inside the medbay of the Elysium, two beings of completely different worlds had found each other, and nothing could ever undo that. Months passed. Aaron and Zyra became legends aboard the Elysium, the first human-Zyran couple to navigate both marriage and interstellar adventure simultaneously. They learned each other's languages, quirks, and habits. They laughed, fought, healed, and loved in ways neither had imagined possible. Aaron no longer thought of the marriage as a mistake or a misunderstanding. It was a choice made in a blur of confusion and pain, solidified through shared danger, empathy, and the unspoken understanding that, sometimes, love finds you in the most unexpected forms. Zyra, too, had changed. The nurse who had once approached him with rigid precision and a clinical gaze now smiled with warmth, teasing him about everything from his messy quarters to his insistence on drinking coffee at zero gravity. She had embraced the human concept of humor and subtle chaos, while he had embraced her meticulous ways, learning to trust intuition and alien logic alike. One evening, they stood together in the observation deck, watching the nebulae stretch like molten glass across the void. Aaron felt a pang of awe at the vastness outside, at the improbable closeness between them, at the life they had somehow forged amid chaos. "Do you ever wonder how we got here?" he asked quietly, letting the silence stretch between them. Zyra's silver eyes glimmered. "Sometimes. But not often. Because I have you. And that is enough." Aaron smiled, taking her hand in his. Their fingers intertwined, human and alien, a symbol of their bond. "You know, I never thought I'd be married to an alien nurse when I signed up for this mission." She laughed softly, a sound like chimes in a gentle wind. "Neither did I. But the universe has a sense of humor. And it brought us together." He leaned closer, resting his forehead against hers. "So, we really are stuck together forever, huh?" "Forever," she confirmed. "But willingly. Always willingly." They floated there for a while, suspended in zero gravity, listening to the distant hum of the ship, feeling connected in a way that went beyond words, rituals, or even the laws of the galaxy. They had faced near-death, political upheaval, interstellar anomalies, and the incomprehensible bureaucracy of alien marriage laws, and they had survived. Together. Aaron realized then that it wasn't just survival that mattered. It was choice, trust, laughter, and shared courage. And maybe most importantly, it was the willingness to let someone completely different into your life and let them stay. The Elysium drifted on, silent witnesses to their story. The stars outside shone eternal and indifferent, but inside the med bay and the observation deck, two beings from separate worlds had found a home in each other. "So," he said with a grin, "does this mean I have to start calling you my wife now?" Her silver eyes sparkled mischievously.
Yes.
"And you will do perfectly." Aaron chuckled, shaking his head. "I think I can handle that." And in that simple, human moment, filled with humor, affection, and the quiet certainty of mutual respect, he understood the truth. Love didn't have to be conventional. It didn't have to follow expectations, and sometimes it didn't even need to make sense. All it needed was two willing hearts, and in the vast emptiness of space, Aaron and Zyra had found exactly that. As they held each other, the ship's lights dimmed for the night cycle, and the stars twinkled outside, uncountable and eternal. For the first time, Aaron felt that no matter what the galaxy threw at him, he would never be truly alone again. The alien nurse had taken the bond seriously, and he had learned to do the same. Together, they would face everything the universe had to offer, with laughter, courage, and an unshakable connection that transcended species, distance, and even the stars themselves. The Elysium sailed on, carrying its unlikely couple into the unknown and in the vast silence of space. 2.